One of the healthiest drinks is tea, and when we talk about tea, we usually mean green tea. There are many varieties of green tea. In this episode, I will tell you about matcha, which is one of the healthiest teas you can drink. What is matcha tea and how does it compare to regular green tea? First, let me say that matcha leaves are obtained from the same plant as other types of tea, including black tea or other varieties of green tea. The plant I'm referring to is a species of shrub called Camellia sinensis in Latin. The difference between ordinary green tea and matcha tea lies in the different cultivation conditions. In the case of matcha tea, the shrubs from which the leaves are obtained are covered from the sun's rays for about 3 to 4 weeks before harvesting, which determines the formation of compounds found in the tea. In addition, matcha tea is in powdered form. This means that when brewing it in water, we consume it entirely. This is not the case with other teas. For example, none of us eat the leaves from a cup of tea, and it is the leaves that contain more health-promoting compounds compared to the infusion itself. This means that by drinking matcha tea, we get much more biologically active compounds than if we reach for ordinary green tea. Firstly, it is the valuable antioxidants in the form of polyphenols, the most important of which is epigallocatechin gallate. That is, it can be assumed that a cup of matcha tea provides us with 2 to 3 times more of these compounds than ordinary green tea. Since this compound is primarily responsible for the health benefits of tea, it is not an exaggeration to say that matcha tea is healthier than other varieties of tea. Now that the differences between matcha tea and green tea are known, I will now discuss its health properties. Firstly, drinking matcha is associated with improved cognitive functions, including memory and concentration, increased mental agility, as well as stimulating effects. This is due to the presence of caffeine, the content of which in 1 gram of matcha powder is around 40 milligrams. Thus, matcha acts similarly to coffee in terms of energy injection and anti-fatigue action. However, in my opinion, it has an advantage. This is because after drinking it, there is a gradually increasing stimulating effect, and as a result, the effect of reducing fatigue lasts for a longer period. Furthermore, after drinking matcha, a decrease in energy, which many people experience with coffee, occurs less frequently. This then translates, for example, into increased productivity at work, which has been confirmed by scientific studies. The activity of matcha tea is partially due to the fact that it contains L-theanine, an amino acid that has anti-stress, relaxing, and mood-soothing properties. In addition to preventing fatigue and enhancing cognitive performance, regular consumption of matcha also helps to strengthen the cardiovascular system. For example, in the long term, drinking the aforementioned tea reduces both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Additionally, the polyphenols in matcha protect the cholesterol circulating in the body from dangerous modifications. I'm referring to the oxidation process of cholesterol, which makes it atherogenic. This translates to a further health benefit, namely, studies have shown that individuals who consume green tea, including matcha, have a lower risk of a heart attack by up to 32%. Moreover, similar protective effects have been reported in terms of preventing strokes. When it comes to matcha, it is impossible not to mention its anti-cancer properties. So far, scientists have published many extensive works in which they have clearly demonstrated that due to the presence of antioxidant compounds, regular consumption of this tea reduces the risk of liver, throat, lung, ovary, and prostate cancer. The occurrence of these cancers is reduced by up to 20 to 40%. To prevent the formation of cancerous changes, one needs to consume as little as 2 cups of matcha per day. It is also worth mentioning that green tea contains diuretic ingredients, which reduces the risk of kidney stones. I would like to take a moment to make a small request. If you find my videos helpful and would like to help this channel grow, please consider subscribing and, if possible, also clicking the bell icon next to it. That way you won't miss any new videos that could bring something of value to your life. Thank you, and now let's get back to the topic. Matcha is also a friend to our livers. I looked into the findings which showed that supplying high amounts of catechins present in this product led to beneficial decreases in liver enzymes such as ALAT and ASPAT in patients with fatty liver. This means that matcha is improving the functioning of the most important detoxifying organ when it is not performing optimally. Not everyone is aware that matcha also supports our immunity. For example, researchers have observed that the antioxidants present in it stimulate the activity of immune cells, including the so-called NK lymphocytes, which are known as natural killers. This kind of activity is reflected in concrete clinical effects. In 2021, researchers published an extensive scientific paper in which they confirmed that consuming tea reduces the risk of flu and upper respiratory tract infections by around 30%. Moreover, the scientists noticed that providing catechins present in matcha resulted in decrease in both the duration and severity of infections in people already suffering from them. Therefore, reaching for matcha during autumn and winter seems to be a very good solution. Now, 2 words about how matcha should be consumed. To strengthen your health, you only need to consume about 3 grams of matcha tea per day. This is roughly half a standard teaspoon. Most often, matcha is consumed in the form of a brew. To prepare it, it is recommended to pour 1 gram of powdered matcha with about 100 milliliters of water, which is roughly half a cup. It is best for the water temperature to be around 75 to 80 degrees Celsius. According to the traditional method of preparing matcha, the powdered tea should be mixed thoroughly until it is foamy. For this purpose, a bamboo whisk called a chasen is used. Of course, it is not necessary and can be replaced with a milk froother or even a regular spoon, which should just be stirred vigorously. Since matcha is in powdered form, it can be added to a variety of different products like natural yogurts, smoothies, and ice cream. People even use it for baking, including cakes and cupcakes. Have you ever tasted matcha before? If not, I suggest you give it a try. Additionally, I invite you to watch another video on my channel about clove tea, which is also a healthy beverage. To watch it, simply click on the thumbnail that has now appeared on your screen. Thanks for your attention, and I will see you next time.